Oh, well, hey, Ben, it's jamithatsme here. Welcome back to my channel. Now, let's get into Ready to Love. Let's start this thing off right by letting everyone know that David, you can go. Okay, David, you can go ahead and skip to your loo, honey. Go ahead and go about your business because you've been kind of showing out lately, and we ain't really feeling you like that. But we're gonna go ahead and get into the episode. Okay, let's start off with nephew Tommy and the ladies. So he gives the ladies an invite to come over to his house. Okay, he also has his wife join us, and I thought she looked so cute, especially with her bun on her head. She was just too cute. Okay, so he tells the ladies, listen, I want you guys to introduce the men to your exes. And I kind of felt like that was a bit unfair. Like, why is it that the ladies have to introduce their exes to these men when these men only introduce them to their friends? So I kind of feel like it should be twofold. So next week's episode, I would like to see that, but I doubt if we will. It would be nice, but it is what it is. Okay, the ladies were a bit shook up by the information they heard. Like, dang, you want us to do what again now? Okay, then I guess I could find one of my exes to come out here and meet with this man. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start off with the first individuals to go on a date, and that would be Joel and Vernisha. Vernisha brought her ex David to the table. Obviously, from the conversation and everything, this is not her husband or the man she was with for many years and had children by. I guess this is one of the men that she dated after that situation ended. So he got to meet Joel. Joel was kind of like, he thought it was a family member. He didn't know that was her ex. So he was definitely shocked to find that out. David came with it immediately. He was like, hey, got a question for you. Are you a jealous type of man? Okay. I believe he asked that question because he knows what Vernisha has dealt with in her past. Joel says, no, I'm not. I'm not a jealous guy at all. I'm good with where I'm at with it, baby. Okay. But let me ask you a question. Do you believe that Vernisha is a clingy person? Like, is she clingy? Of course, David had Vernisha's back. He told Joel, no, actually, she's not clingy at all. And Vernisha decided to speak up and say, well, listen, I am very big on communication. So Joel's like, well, do you want to speak up a little bit more and tell us what you're talking about? And she was like, actually, I would. Let me go ahead and give him a situation so he can give advice on it or whatever. So she talks about a time when she and Joel were supposed to be linking up. I guess he was in the middle of something. He was supposed to text her once he was done. At least that's what she asked him to do. He was like, okay. Well, she sat around and she waited and she waited and she waited, but it never happened. He never hit her back, and she felt like that was kind of rude and disrespectful. So it's not that she really clingy, but she is, she's big on communication, and she doesn't think that that's hard for anyone to do, is to just let her know what's going on. And I don't blame her on that. She probably canceled plans to hang out with you. And had you told her in enough time that you were canceling the plans that she had with you, she could have went on and did some other stuff. So I don't think that that is fair at all. And even the friend said that it wasn't fair. Like, nah, you was wrong. You kind of owed her some communication. Joel gives me the vibe. He just want to be out here doing whatever it is he wants to do. He likes the idea of having a relationship or a cut buddy or a situationship where they think that they in a relationship, but they really not, because Joel strongly enjoys his freedom and he doesn't really know how to navigate that within a relationship. That's what I'm getting. And I feel like Vernisha, as much as I like the two together, it's kind of like, girl, raise your eyebrows and pay attention and watch him, because even he got mad at you for something so small and then says, oh, I choose Kyra. What? That made no sense. And then you don't want to communicate with her, and when she's asking you questions is she's clingy. She ain't clingy. Okay, she asking you what it is we supposed to do. You just like too much of freedom and feeling as though you don't have to answer to people. If it was a business meeting and you couldn't make it, you would sit up there and speak up and be like, hey, I'm not gonna be able to make it. So why is it that you cannot communicate with her? So I was with Vernisha on that, overall. All right. Now, when it came down to it, Joel said that he really did enjoy the date. It gave him an opportunity to get more insight about Vernisha. So he was glad to have a sit down with David, and he just felt like it was like a healthy situation or whatever. So I mean, if he liked it, then who are we, honey? Let's go ahead and move on. Let's get into Alexis. Alexis allows Ron to meet her ex Joseph, and Joseph is from way back. This was prior to her marriage to the pastor. The pastor probably wasn't gonna be down to sit down and hear her meet with nobody either. That's funny. So Joseph asked him, how does he handle arguments or whatever, and Ron says that he handled arguments how a guy would. And I was kind of like, well, what exactly does that mean? And Joseph says to him, him where, you know, with Alexis, like, you know, we understand you guys may have your differences or whatever, but she's gonna need to know that you care though. Even in the midst of a disagreement or whatever, she's gonna need to feel that or whatever. And Ron says, well, yeah, that's something that I need to work on because words of affirmation, you know, that's not really my strong suit. So then Ron goes into asking him about whether he's a religious man. And I don't really understand that. It seems like the religion thing bothers Ron more than it actually bothers Alexis, that he would bring that up out of nowhere. I don't know if they left some parts of the conversation out, but it just came from nowhere. He asked him, you know, are you a religious person or whatever? And he said that he could feel the religion coming up off him. And I'm like, what are you saying? Okay. I guess. Okay. Ron, you know, he was concerned about the whole religion thing being an issue between he and Alexis because he said that he left the church due to bad experiences, bad pastors out here trying to get money and just not fully believing in what the church is out there preaching. Okay. That's why Ron left the church. Okay. That's where he felt as though things were different. He said that he's not a person that does a lot of praying. He said Alexis can sit in there and pray all day if she wants to. He said, but he gonna be out there trying to make moves. Okay. He don't have time to be sitting up there waiting on the Lord to answer his prayers. He's going to be trying to get his own things answered for himself. So that's where Ron's at. I'm like, okay, girl. And just hearing that, like, I don't know, maybe he's a spiritual person, but not a religious person. I'm not sure. Maybe they could have dived deeper in that conversation between Alexis and Ron. And when I see that Ron has sat down with his friend and he's speaking on religion and stuff, I feel like Alexis, I don't know. I feel like she know Ron is not a fit for her, but what ended up coming up at the end of the episode was that she liked Ron and she chose Ron because Ron liked her. And I feel like that's not a good enough reason, because it sounds like to me you just did that just to stay on the show. You wanted to have somebody that you were compatible with so you guys could just continue to be on this show together. But it's like, let's be real. Can you really see yourself connecting with this man? Because you also sat down with Nephew Tommy and was like, that's like a what is it? Not a breaking point, but I forgot what a deal breaker or something like that. If he's not going to be religious because she wants somebody to be the head of her household, but then you're out here still contradicting yourself because you see that he's not operating within that realm of things. So are you sure? Like, is that something you willing to compromise? So it's like, girl, you know this man ain't a fit, you know, but you just hanging on because of the compatibility of you guys saying you are each other's number one, but really that's all you got right now. Who else is really digging Ron? Who else is truly digging you until after he heard that Kyra was out here kissing Jason, and then now he's digging you? But that's just that. We're going to get into it. Let's go ahead and move on to the nail parlor, honey. Because Vernisha has a homegirl that has her own nail parlor. So she decides to take some of the girls out. I did not see Amber, but she took everybody else out, hung out with them, and she had a bartender there. Homegirl was up there making some drinks. I saw Seagram's up there getting a promo on, getting a placement on. So the lady was like, I'm gonna make you a drink based on your man, so go ahead and describe your man to me. All of the ladies described their man, and they had their drinks, they sat down, they chit-chatted, they enjoyed themselves. Vernisha wanted to know, like, how are you ladies, like, what are you learning about this process? What are your thoughts about the process? And Vern says that she's learned things about herself, and she said that she didn't know that she was so emotional. She didn't know she had more emotions than, I guess, what she was giving off at one time. And Kyra was telling her, girl, you're a woman, you're human, like, you're gonna be emotional, like, everything is okay. I guess she hasn't had to explore certain emotions over time, and this process is starting to pull that out of her. Okay, Alexis says that she hasn't had a taste of AJ, and actually nobody in there came in there and said they wanted a taste of AJ. And Kyra was called out by Vernisha, saying that she don't believe that Kyra is willing to let go of AJ, which she's not, because of the history factor. Even though Jason is her number one, she still have a little bit of her feet over there in the pond of AJ. Liz goes on to say how she wants her a taste of Jason. Okay, she meant the drink. She wanted a taste of Jason, the drink. And so Kyra said, well, can I get a taste of David then? And Liz said, girl, I don't care. Because Liz really was like, honey, I'm about this close to dropping him off at the local store, because I don't want no more of him. I don't give him. So you can do whatever it is you want to do over there, honey. So speaking of Liz and David, let's go ahead and get to their date, honey. Shout out to her friend Clarence. I appreciated him. Now, when they get to this date, before David even got there, Liz had an opportunity to tell him more about David. And I kind of felt the way a little bit like, dang, because I didn't really see nobody else give an update about the person they're seeing before they sat down, but I'm sure everybody probably did that. I was like, dang, why did she have to say that? Like, tell him that afterwards, allow him to get a true assessment of who he thinks David is, and then tell you, because he probably gonna be seeing it how we all saw it, you know. So he was a bit influenced to ask some of the questions that he asked, but overall, I wasn't mad when I looked at it, right? So David came in, you know, shook his hand, all of that, sat down. Liz told him, hey, this is actually my ex. You know, David was taken back because he is truly territorial. Y'all talk about Bernicia, but he is truly territorial. Okay. So he comes in and the guy tells him like, hey, you know, it's really nice meeting you or whatever, but I'll be honest, I got some questions that need answers. And then David said, so it's not nice meeting me. Which one is it? You know, like, okay. And so he said, before we get started, this is David now asking, before we get started and doing anything, any conversations, I need to know, when was the last time you two have been intimate? Y'all, that got on my nerves so bad. Like, why does it matter? Like, we don't even have your exes here to even ask them a question like that. And you want to ask, when was the last time they've been intimate? Like, why does that matter? He's an ex. She's trying to holler at you. You're of interest right now. So why would you bring that up? See, he's clearly been cheated on, okay? And one of the reasons he's probably been cheated on is because of his controllingness. But I'm sure David was out here doing some other stuff as well, which caused him to get cheated on too. But that right there just really bothered me, that he would ask that. And the homeboy kind of looked at him crazy. Clarence was like, it's been years, and the most we've ever done was kiss each other. Like, what are you talking about? Okay. So then he says, well, let me ask you this then, David, since you got so many questions for me, and I'm really supposed to be the one asking you questions. Let me ask you this. How important is communication for you? David goes on to BS, honey, BS. He goes on to say that it's very important, and then says that he loves a woman that is a safe place no matter what he tells her. Boy, if you don't get I take a cue ball. My woman has always been classy. What Martin said, okay, always been classy. He just, So I love how David hit him, and he was just like, so do you think that you're a safe place for her? David says, yes. Clarence digs in. It's a little bit more, okay? And he said, well, this is the thing for me. She told me something about how she mentioned to you that she kissed another person that's a part of this process, and you betrayed her by telling that information to, or repeating that information in front of your friends while she was there. Like, did you even notice her reaction to that? Like, did you even care? You know, and then David said something like, it wasn't the fact that I didn't even care or something like that. He turns to Liz and tells her like, well, if you would have told me, like, if you would say, or if you would have told me that, hey, I don't really like how you handle, you know, the things that you say when we're around certain people, like if you would tell me that, then I would have to respect where you are. And I'm just kind of like, why would she have to tell you that for you to know that? You should just know that, because to me, you're a territorial person, you're a controlling person, you like things to come off and look a certain way. So with that, it feels like if the shoe was on the other foot, you would expect her to understand and to not speak on certain things that she is likely going to know is going to be sensitive to you or whatever. You're not going to want her to bring that up. So why do you think it's okay for you to bring that up when they didn't even need to know anything about that? And then for you to feel a way about her friend Clarence questioning you, as I'm talking this out now and I'm thinking about it, this is exactly what you get. This is slick, like payback. You sat up there and you told your friends about something about me in front of you said that to them while I'm sitting there, got them looking at me sideways. So now here's my turn. I tell my friend, my ex, that's my friend now, something about you, and now they fronted you on it. You can't even be mad because you was wrong with what you did in the first place. That was on you. So I wasn't mad at it. I was glad that the friend overall was not here for David and his bullshit. Period. And I was glad that, and then he started talking about how, Liz, you know, you're my number one and you're just so amazing. You know how highly I think of you and how high I put you on the platform. You're solid, Liz. You're solid. And I love that Liz saw right through his antics, and she got in their confessional and she was like, you know, I feel like he was just talking some shit. I feel like once he was fronted on the things that he said, he proceeded to just give me compliments instead. And that just made me feel away. And the whole time I liked how she connected the dots and said, he brought up the whole issue about Jason, and then he turns around and he asks about intimacy within me and my guy friend's friendship. You always felt the way, even when you were sitting up here telling me that you weren't feeling away and that everything was okay. You weren't. This whole time you were definitely feeling away. So now she's looking at him sideways, as she should. As she should have been doing. And it's so funny that he would sit up there and talk about how solid she is and how much, you know, he likes her and stuff. But just last week, with your indecisive weird ass, he was just saying that he didn't know if she was his number one anymore. But then now you want to get up there and talk about how much of her, how solid she is when it comes to you and her. It's like, boy, go ahead. That's why when he left, I was so glad her friend told her that he's full of SHI, and that he's the type of person that really tells you what it is that you want to hear. That's what that is. And I'm so glad he said it. Like, he knows the certain things. He knows the things to say to you to make you feel a certain way or to get you to react or respond in a certain manner. And I was so glad, being a man, that man was able to pinpoint that. And the crazy thing is, David, you didn't think that boy was going to see right through you and your antics. And that's why he really was upset at the table. You know, I'm not at the table, but in the confessional, talking about some, oh, well, I didn't like how this went, and that's not how it should have went, and all this other stuff. And that's why I think she should not even consider a relationship with David at all, because I feel like what's good for the goose is not always good for the gander. In his situation, it's like he could do it, but you can't do it. And that really bothers me, because it takes me back to a past relationship that I had many years ago. And it was always me, them telling me what I need to do, this, that, and the other. And I'm sitting up here like, okay, but what you gonna do? I don't like one-sided situations like that. Don't try and pinpoint anything going on with me, and then when it's your turn to have certain things dictated to you, it's a problem. So yeah, no, I think she should just go ahead and skip out on a plug twice. I can't even say if Jason's gonna be that guy. I mean, they did have chemistry, you know, when they went out on that date and stuff, but I don't know for how long. You know, is this just a phase? Like, what's really going to happen between them in the long run? I don't know. But let's go ahead and move on to another date that took place with Amber and Chris. Okay, Amber brings him out to meet her good friend Tony. Tony is her ex, and they are now friends now. Okay, we learned in this sit down that Chris wants about 5 children, but he'll settle for 3. Amber tells us that having children to her is more important than being somebody's wife. Period. So she wants children, and she's okay with having 3 to 5 children. Now, we also go on to learn, because Chris was looking like y'all are a bit too close as friends. Something is off. I feel like you guys friendship has went beyond the relationship. Like, what is this? And Tony came out to let him know that I am interested in men as well. So I don't know if Tony is gay or if Tony is bisexual, but I know that he's definitely interested in men as well. At least that's what came out of his mouth. So once Chris heard that, it was weird, because he said he felt even more comfortable, you know, being around Amber and Tony, I guess because he felt as though Tony wasn't a threat to him in any way. So they have a really good friendship. He said that he put Amber through a lot once he explained to her and opened up to her that, hey, I like men. You know, it was devastating for her, because she didn't want to believe it. She was kind of shocked to know that she had been in a relationship with someone this whole time, and they weren't really interested in her. They were interested in others. So yeah, he said he put her through a lot, but you know, her and Chris gonna continue to ride it out. So all went well during that meeting. So that's what's up. Now, but Amber did say, listen, I may have let my ex sit down with this guy, but I will never do that again. And I don't blame her. Unless they gonna bring their exes to the table, I don't blame her at all. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to a double date that took place between Liz and Jason and Alexis and AJ. Okay, they all linked up. You can see that Liz and Jason over there feeling lovey-dovey. She said Jason makes her feel like a kid. I'm like, for now. I'm sure it is refreshing, though. You know, for now, we shall see. Jason tells her that he has been enjoying every single date that he's had up until this point. I guess he was referring to the dates he's had with Liz, because he turned and looked her square in her eyes, and he told her, like, I've been enjoying this. So she was really happy. You know, he gave her a kiss on her cheek, and they held each other's hand the entire time. Now, when it came down to Alexis and AJ, she tells him that she could see him being a guy that she could fall in love with. Interested. That's what she said. And I'm just sitting over here like, girl, this man ain't your type. And she even said it herself when nephew Tommy last week was like, go out, or whatever week it was, like go out with someone that you wouldn't normally go out with. And she tried that, she did that, but she's still drawn to AJ. Yeah, that's because AJ has a energy that is very familiar to you, but none of those energies that you've had in the past have been successful. Okay. Yeah. So AJ, as she's going on her tangent and stuff, and she's talking about how she ended up being with Ron because Ron was the one that was like interested in her. So she went with who was interested in her. But the whole time she was really feeling AJ. You know, when she was rambling on, AJ decided to cut her off just to lay his lips on her and to give her a kiss and then tell her that he's all in. He's completely focused on her. And there's no wavering, no confusion when it comes to his pursuit of her now. And I'm like, boy, you only saying that to me. I feel like once again to stay on this show. And because Miss Kyra ain't got her eyes on just you, boo. So that's how I was feeling about that. But if that's who Alexis like, cool. I feel like she's gonna get her feelings hurt sooner or later, and we're just gonna have to watch and see. Okay, let's go ahead and move on because the ladies have made it to nephew Tommy's house. Okay, they've made it to Tommy's house, and he wanted to get an update on the dates. Vernisha spoke on David and how the date went. She says that she feels like she has a bit more clarity on where she and Joel stand. She also said that her ex really liked him and he could see both of them working out. That would be interesting. Okay. As long as Joel works through a few kinks, I don't think Joel has a whole lot of issues like some of these other people on the show. So I feel like some of his issues with, you know, a little work, you know, he'll be in a better place. So I can see the two probably getting together, but I still think she needs to be mindful of certain things. But I also think that the thing she's mindful about, she should address those to him and he should work on fixing those for her. So we'll see how that goes. Let's get back to it. When it gets to Miss Alexis, okay, she speaks on the date with Ron and how the religion talk really bothered her. She says that he isn't a person that prays, and that's when she said that it's like a deal breaker for her. Yet in the same sentence, she says that she wants to give him the benefit of the doubt. So I'm like, well, which one is it? You're saying that it's a non-negotiable, but then you're still trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. And so nephew Tommy told her that, you know, she got a lot of praying to do. And the real answer should have been, he ain't it. If you got to think that hard, okay, you willing to give a pass on that if you feel like it's such a non-negotiable and you want him to be a leader of the house and everything, then I just feel like just let it go. Because if you'll give in on that, then ain't no telling what else you're going to continue to give in on, you know, later on down the road. So those are my thoughts. I think that she can go ahead and let it go. But when it comes to Miss Liz, Liz goes on to speak on how Clarence acted like a big brother for her, and she really appreciated it. She said that she told Clarence about the kiss with Jason and how David brought that up in front of the friends, and how Clarence ended up calling him out on it, and he got on the defense or whatever. So the ladies have a lot of things to think about her nephew Tommy after having a sit down discussing everything. Now, nephew Tommy did ask the ladies, if you chose somebody today, who you picking? Kyra and Liz both said Jason. Vernisha said Joel. Amber, of course, said Chris. And Alexis sitting up there talking about something she undecided. Girl, no ma'am, just go ahead and move around, okay? Alexis, just go ahead and in my opinion, self-eliminate yourself. Just self-eliminate yourself. You don't have any really good candidates, especially after the sit down that she just had with Ron. I feel like AJ is also a person that's kind of like David, where it's like you may have the gift of gab, you're good with words and stuff like that, but honestly, you really ain't about SHI nor T. Okay. And I believe one of the reasons he really kissed on Alexis is because that's the energy she leads with. And he knew that was something like that was going to shut her the hell up. I feel like the energy they may have is more of a sexual energy. And this is the same energy she came into the show with, saying that this is not what she wants. She's tired of men wanting to just take her to the bed. So that's the energy she got from him. But okay, talk about she feel like she could fall in love with him. Nah, I feel like you probably gonna fall in love with the sex. But okay then, ma'am, Miss Preacher's wife, Miss Religious ma'am. Okay, let's move on to the sit down that she had with Ron. So she brings Ron out and she talks to him about his comments on religion. She says that she's always worked so hard to keep him in a place where he doesn't have to feel like she's trying to put religion off on him. She says that it was hard to hear him say that he isn't going to be praying while she is. And Ron is still like, because I'm not. You know, if that's what you want to do, then cool, but I'm not going to do that. And she's like, well, you know, I want somebody to be the leader of my household. And he said, well, I'm a leader in my own right because that's my divine masculinity. He says that, like, I don't know when the last time you had somebody do that for you on a regular. She said, ooh, really? That's what we doing? You don't know? You don't know when the last time I had divine masculine energy in my life on a regular basis? Okay, I hear you. You over here throwing some shots or whatever. So he was really going in. She says that, he was her, something about him being her number one and him choosing her. And I guess that's one of the reasons she started to go along with him. And then Ron tells her that he felt like because of that, she was seeking validation because she was only rocking with him because he chose to pick her. So you were waiting to be validated by a man. And so you just came with the man that validated you. And I don't know what to say about that, y'all. I want to hear y'all thoughts and comments about that, because she did say that though. She was like, I went with who was interested in me. But then it's also like, that's what any woman should kind of do for the most part. Like, check out the person, like get to know more about the person that's interested in you versus running after and running behind another man that's not showing any interest. Okay, because you kind of look like a fool. So then it makes me wonder, like, does that really mean she was trying to be validated by you? I feel like she was more of trying to give him a chance, trying to give him a chance to, you know, get to know him, know more about him. He's really interested in her. And she was trying to abide by what nephew Tommy was saying about getting to be around and getting to know and dating someone that you don't normally date. So I don't know, but Ron was really feeling himself. And I think I mentioned that about him before the season started, that he comes off with that type of energy. Like you can't tell him nothing and he's just that dude when he's really not. Okay. And she goes on to say, oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So you saying that you were really just only interested in me for what it is I can offer you. He said, what can you offer me? I said, ooh, wait a minute. He said, what can you offer me? What can you offer me, Alexis, honey? You can't offer me anything. I was like, ooh, honey. And so, you know, she started speaking on him, being condescending and things like that. And he was like, girl, all this stuff you're saying about me, you do it more than I do. So obviously that situation did not that did not go well at all. And all I saw were two bulls. That's all I saw. And I saw that they also may be similar in person, where he doesn't like to hear critiques of himself and she may not like to hear critiques of herself either. So we'll just see how things are going to work out. You know, I want to hear you guys' explanation of the sit down between Alexis and Ron. Chime down in the comments below and let me know your overall synopsis or whatever of what you got from the conversation between the two. Let's go ahead and move on to some more foolery, okay? Let's move on to Liz and David and his ain't shit ass nigganess, okay? Let's do that. So she invites him out. She wants to have a sit down and talk to him. They have not talked to each other since he sat down and met her ex Clarence. Okay, he gets there and he sits down. As soon as she gets ready to open up her mouth, he says, I want to lead the convo. I want to lead the convo. And she's like, okay, but let me just say this real quick. No, Liz, please, Liz. Come on now, Liz. Let me lead now, Liz. Let me lead. I'm just like, okay, so they over there, you know, battling for who can open up the floor for conversation. I feel like if she invited him there, he could at least hear her out because she invited him out for a reason. She invited him out to talk. So let's hear what she has to say, okay? Be the woman in the, you know, I'm not woman, but be the man in the situation and allow the woman to speak first. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't really hearing that. He wanted to get his point across. And I liked how poised Liz was and calming she was. She was like, but I let you talk, right? But I let you talk. But you're a gentleman, right? You're a gentleman, right? So can you just hear me out? Can you just let me just, okay, I understand. But can you just, and she was really trying to really fight for conversation with him the best way that she could. He wasn't hearing that. And then he was like, okay, Liz. He leans in trying to kiss her, and that's when she leaned back like, no. Okay, like, no, you're not gonna kiss me, David. And I think that's what set David off. I don't know how next week's episode is gonna go. I don't know if this is gonna be the episode where David kind of like runs off, but I think he did not like being rejected on camera. And I feel like that's why he probably took off. So we'll just have to see how that's going to work out between Liz and David. You guys also leave your thoughts and comments down below on how you felt about the overall situation with Liz and David, and how he responded to her, and how he prevented her from opening up the floor and have a conversation. So I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are about everything. Also leave your thoughts and comments down below about the entire episode as well as this review. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, okay? Share my videos. Follow me on Instagram as well as Twitter to stay up to date on all of the videos that I post, okay? I'm Jamie, that's me, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.